Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
I'm your co-host for the next few hours.
And hopefully Gal is going to join us quickly here. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Something is nothing to do with news. Did you look into which vMix are you running? Do you know? Is it the 25, the latest, or still 24? I was trying to see about upgrading, and I don't see any reason to upgrade. But I was wondering. Yeah, it's.
I'm trying to remember where you find it. Is it in the setting?
Oh, it's in the
setting. I'm running 24.
Yeah, that's what I'm running. Oh,
there is an update available, so maybe I'll update. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a lot of things that I don't know that we would use. I mean, you may use.
Oh, most of the stuff isn't.
Yeah, it's a bunch of titles and stingers and things like that.
I've got a story here.
All right.
So, do you remember? This has been a story that's been talked about for years. There's a guy over in the UK that mined Bitcoin back like 10 plus years ago. Or close to 10 years ago. And he threw away the hard drive that had all of his Bitcoin on it?
Yes.
Did you see the update on this?
No.
So his name is James Howells. And the hard drive apparently has about 8,000 Bitcoin on it.
Wow.
Which would be worth about $190 million US. So now it has gotten to the point where he is planning on excavating the entire landfill.
Well,
that his trash would have gone to. He's estimating that it'll cost him about $11 million to do it. But he's getting some pushback, rightfully so, from whatever government or city maintains it, saying, this is a huge ecological risk of just, digging up this, whatever. But there's a couple of problems with this. First, how are you going to, let's go over a couple things. Bit rot is a real thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
This hard drive has not spun since 2013. It's been 10 years. It's been in an unclimate controlled environment that has been, likely inundated with water and other things. The likelihood of a hard drive 10 years old that's been sitting in a dump spinning up, I don't even think that makes sense.
No, it will not spin up. But
it might, but I mean the likelihood of it. Would you spend $10 million? And I understand $190 million is a lot of money, but would you spend $10 million to dig up an old hard drive?
If it had that much money involved in it, and
if it doesn't?
And I know that it's there.
But what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't work? What if the hard drive is destroyed?
Okay, I mean,
we're gonna spend $11 million to. That's a pretty big gamble.
Yeah, it's a gamble, but in most likelihood, the drive, I mean, unless you open the drive, drives are pretty strong.
The drive is strong,
they're
but you
small.
do get you do get a bit rot.
Yeah, you could, yes, but
10
you
years is a long time to not have a drive spin.
in outside, yeah. But I
Outside, and
mean,
that's the thing. Yeah, not it.
I've got drives that haven't spun in 20 years. I still keep them. I mean,
Well, do they spin though?
maybe and maybe not. But even if they don't spin, remember what they do is they take the platters off.
Yeah.
And they put them on another
So-
drive that spins. That's
the
again,
second part. So there's two parts of it. One is the drive doesn't spin,
Right.
which as you mentioned can be overcome by doing a platter swap into a similar enclosure. And there's all these professional data recovery companies that do this really well. That's part number one. Part number two is bit rot. The data might no longer be sufficient because of the atmosphere in which this drive was housed in, which was likely, well, it wasn't likely, it was outside. I mean, it's been inundated by the environment for a decade.
And for those of you that don't know it, I mean, a drive is not sealed. It's not sealed hermetically. It does have openings with filters. I mean, you need to take apart a drive and look at it, and it has filters where it allows air and pressure and all that to do what they're supposed to do. Here, let me give you one sample of bit rot.
Sure.
And it didn't take that many, but it's not a hard drive. CDs. I had a few CDs in my old Mercedes that I wrote. I mean, that I created.
Totally legally.
Totally legal, absolutely. And they were they were. And they were not MP3s, they were actually audio files. And I was trying to copy stuff to the truck's hard drive. And no, it doesn't. It only will copy audio files, not MP3s. So I said, well, let me go get it. And I looked for there was a changer with 6 CDs. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. I said, well, I'll go to Omar and maybe it's still in the car because the car is still there. They're just using parts from it. Sure enough, it was in there. So I pulled it out, managed to take it out, brought it home, and I wish I didn't throw them away. But the drives, the CDs, had perfectly round holes in different places on the media. Like somebody, holes in the aluminum.
Yeah, that's actual rot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one of those, and that's it. The CD is worthless.
Yeah, and on a hard drive side, when you talk about bit rot, it's it's the it essentially means that think about it like a piece of bread or something rotting. Parts of the data no longer become usable.
Right.
And when you're talking about trying to find 8,000 Bitcoin in a drive that has been sitting out in the environment for 10 years, I refuse to believe, and I hope I'm wrong, but I refuse to believe that the data could possibly still be intact after that long in that environment.
Yeah, you don't know until if you find it. But I mean, I'm looking at it a different way. If I work in a landfill, here, you see, first of all, he wasn't supposed to throw it in the trash. He was supposed to recycle. That's it.
Well, it could have. Yeah, but it could be in a recycled part of a landfill too.
Yeah, but they don't. I don't think they bury it. I think they give it to people that recycle, and they strip stuff off of it. But anyway,
yeah, maybe.
So you don't know that somebody already. Hey, look, it's a hard drive. Let me take it, and picked it up. That's one thing. Two, I mean, that's the first thing that would happen is that somebody would see it and pick it up. So you don't even know that it's there, and you don't know that the data is intact. Maybe he's got somebody who's backing him up with money.
Well, he does,
and he's got too much money to throw away. They say, well, we'll take a chance.
There's a group that he's using
Yeah.
and it's some software that, so he says that the funding has been secured, so he's got the money.
Oh, okay.
And that, but the second part is, okay, well, what do you do with, and hey Gal,
Hey,
we're talking about this guy over in the UK that threw away his hard drive 10 years ago that has 8,000 Bitcoin on it. And now he's going to go dumpster diving literally in a landfill to try and find it. But the second question is, okay, so let's say that you've got the $12 million or so it's going to cost to dig through this landfill. How do you find it? He says that they've got specially tuned AI that can be retrained to search for a hard drive, which I call bullshit on. I mean, I don't know. Going to use image recognition, but again, if it's in a true landfill, this thing is going to be. I don't know. Maybe I've never dumpster dove or anything like that. Maybe this stuff is easier than it seems like, but I think the assumption is that there's just going to be this perfect,
no.
You're just going to find this thing sitting on top of a hot pile of trash. No, it's going to be smeared with stuff. It's going to be buried. It could be broken in half. I mean, who knows?
It could be. Have you ever been to a landfill?
Oh yeah, I've been to the landfill plenty of times.
Yeah, they have.
That's what I'm saying is I don't understand how. Like I don't know what AI are you going to train to look for a square box?
Yeah. No, this sounds like. I mean, to do this, you're going to have to dig.
That's why it's going to cost $12 million to do it.
Yeah, yeah. You have to dig everything and sift it, kind of. It's not like you go above with some kind of a mine detector and say, okay, yeah, it's down here.
Yeah, let's search for metal. Yeah, I'm sure there won't be any metal in the landfill either.
Right. I don't know. It's interesting. Well,
yeah, it's going on over in Wales. He says that it's about $190 million worth of Bitcoin.
You actually nailed it on the head the moment you said Wales.
Ooh,
got
tap on your mic, or you might be on your webcam mic.
1, 2.
Sound like you're underwater. Change your input into vMix because I think it's echo cancellation. I think Zoom. I think we're hearing ourselves back.
Okay.
There we go. Good.
So, I mean, you nailed it on head when you said he's Welsh. You can't trust
what
the
does
Welsh
that
to
mean?
do anything.
They will.
Racist.
So yeah, if you're talking about racism, ask any British person what they think about the Welsh. And the Welsh will be below the rug. It will be really, really low. So this all sounds like a fantastic ruse. There's a lot of development around it. I wonder if he has any proof that he actually had those 8,000 Bitcoins, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. And
this was another part of it too. Let me ask you this, Gal. Why would you do this now? Bitcoin blew up 5 years ago. Yeah. Why didn't you start dumpster diving then? You've added another 5 years worth of literal garbage to the top of your search and everything else. Like Bitcoin, you could go back to 2015, 2016, and Bitcoin was starting to gain some popularity. Drive only would have been 2 or 3 years old at that point.
Yeah, I don't know where that person was at that time, but it's all about getting the funds to do something this insane.
True. Yeah.
So now he got the fund and the time. Probably, I'm guessing it's both. Also, there's use of these AI robots, right, that are going to do some of the work. So it's a bizarre story. I don't think it matters if he finds it or not, right? It matters what he does with the rights to the movie later.
Yeah, Ready Player One, go hunt for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on. I will. I set a Google News tracker for the topic, so I'll keep us up to date with what goes on here.
What I really find strange is I'm looking. I looked for the the story in the news search, and obviously there are posting from 6 days ago, 2 days ago, 11 days ago. The funny thing of it is on uh, at least on some American sites, it says the man is looking for, and then the amount in millions of dollars in bitcoins, and every title is different because every day Bitcoin fluctuates in such a one time it's 235 million, and one time is 180 million, and one time it's like
yeah. What they need to do
yeah.
is they need a dynamic headline that will query the price of Bitcoin, and
Yeah.
well, then, but that still doesn't matter because Google will archive the
Yeah.
or cache the headline anyway. So I think it's interesting. It's a great point, Kyle. What if this guy's just full of shit?
Well, like God said,
it could be.
I mean,
go ahead,
it's not
guys.
like he's going to
Sounds-
profit. It's not like he's going to put $13 million in the bank on it. But
Look, he's
and
getting
this
a
isn't the
paycheck,
only
right?
story like this.
Yeah, I
Because there's the
understand.
guy that's got one password attempt left. I think he's in the US. He's got one password left on BitLot or some bit recovery thing. And I think he's got a couple million. He might have 50 or 60 million worth of Bitcoin on a hard drive with one
I call
attempt left.
bullshit. Having one password attempt, that means that somebody is running the service and somebody else has access to that. Right?
No, it's something about it's some sort of like it's some sort of encryption on the drive that has a certain number of passwords before it self-destructs. And I think
Okay.
maybe it was 10 attempts total and he's used 8 or 9 of them or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Good luck with
See
that.
if I can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. This is back from 2021. San Francisco man, he's got about 7,000 Bitcoins, and he has a secured thumb drive that it was on that has a limit of 10 password attempts, and he's used 9 of the 10 password
And he
attempts.
can't open it.
Yeah, he's got about $220
I mean, he can
million
replace the
worth of Bitcoin.
firmware, right?
No,
He can
I'm
find
sure-
somebody who can replace the firmware.
I would assume I would assume at $220 million, some IT house, if they were capable of doing that, would have done it. I mean, depending on what the encryption of the drive is.
Look, you don't need to break the encryption. What you need to do is you need to disable the self-destruct mechanism.
Oh, that is true. That
Right?
yeah.
That's what you need. And so you find a hacker who can deal with, I mean, you take a very similar drive. I'm guessing he bought it in a store, right?
SanDisk,
Somewhere.
probably, if it's 10 years old. SanDisk Cruiser.
No, I don't think SanDisk ever did self-encryption on the.
True.
Yeah.
Well, they could have been.
You reach out to that outfit, right? And you present the case, and you have them create a firmware for you, right? There's a technical solution. It sounds like news, right? There's a lot of news that is just news. It's just something to talk about. There's nobody knows where the story is going to end. So it's good as a news item. Probably won't be interesting as a follow-up in the long term. Again, the news item here is a person has managed to managed to convince the world, right, that
and some people with money,
right, that this is a worthwhile chase, and he got it funded.
Yeah,
and the only reason people are watching is because the outcome is, or A, he isn't full of shit, and there's a jackpot at the end. There's an actual treasure hunt, right?
Literal leprechaun. Yeah.
Yeah, or he's full of shit, and then this is the one of the stupidest con games in the world, right? So it's like, that's why people are watching. It's like, why are people watching Formula One? There's like a sliver of people who actually knows how the car works, understand all of the physics involved, understand how hard it's driving it, and they are looking at the effort, and they really enjoy the sport as a sport. Then there's the 99.9% who are either there to see crashes, right, or drama on the racing track. This is it. This is just news.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess time will tell.
Yeah.
But you said something in the beginning that makes. I mean, even if he's full of shit, it'll make a great movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, an AMC miniseries or something like that. I mean, that's the kind of show that would be right up their alley.
Oh,
I wonder if next week we'll see another headline that a competing team, let's say from Saudi Arabia, is also digging in that same landfill, right? It's
Well,
like add to the drama.
I mentioned this before you joined, Gal. He's got an uphill battle with even digging because the town or whoever owns the landfill is talking about the ecological issues of literally digging through a dump and some of the problems that could cause. So he still has an uphill battle. But you mentioned Saudi Arabia. If I were Saudi Arabia, I would just go and buy the damn town and buy the landfill and then just dig it up.
Maybe that's what he's hoping for, right? Like for some, maybe this is all. What was there was a movie came out either right after the election or in parallel to the 2016 election, and it was about these two political consultants going to a small town that was on YouTube. There was like a viral video on YouTube, and they invest all of their political capital on this small town, and at the end, it's the town who hoaxed the political consultant into luring them basically into creating a battle to create media attention around the town. So this sounds a lot more plausible than that, right?
Do you have any? I haven't heard of that. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I'll find it for you.
Find it for me, please. That's right up my alley.
I remember I recommended it back then to you, but it probably seemed too liberal to you.
Oh, and it probably is. But I'll still watch.
No, I think you'll still love it. I think it's terrific. Yeah,
there was a lot going on in 2016. So.
Oh no, I didn't watch it in 2016 for sure. But yeah,
I can see things developing from this, and it can be a long series. They dig. Hey, look, we found an arm. So now it's a whole episode about whose arm it is. you find all kind of things in the landfill, and maybe it'll solve some crimes too. We'll have to wait and see. Anyhow, here is something that I got actually from next door.
Oh, I'm sure it's great.
No, the guy. I mean, it's. I think I went and read about it. So the guy goes, "I just received an email from a good friend asking if I ordered from Amazon. She stated that she had tried to order a gift card for her niece's birthday, and her card had been rejected for an unknown reason. Would I mind ordering the card and sending it to her niece?" So without doubting the request, I requested her to call me. When she did not call, I called her. And it was news to her that she had a niece with a birth. So this is an old scam with new twists. You get an email from somebody that you know, and they said, and it's easy today to find out, somebody gets on your Facebook of most people, especially women who like to post about the family and all that.
Especially women. All right, now we're talking, Amnon. Let's lay it all out here. And I know, I agree.
And,
I agree.
And they know who's their niece, who's their favorite niece, who's this, who's that, when is the birthday, what they can really cook a real story there.
Social engineering.
Yep. So be careful with that. I mean, it's They come at you from all directions when they think that they can make a buck. I mean, they just wanted. I think I remember reading that they just wanted $100. You know, it's not like they wanted you to send in thousands. It's you know, but how many people did send them that?
Well, that's very similar to the some of the scams where it tells you to go to Best Buy and buy
Yep.
a $100 iTunes card. Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. It's not $1 million,
Right.
but it's $100 over and over and over and over again, which can. And I will continue to say this, and obviously it should be self-explanatory, but the only reason that people do this, because we sit here and laugh at it, the only reason this is done is because people fall for it constantly.
Mm-hmm.
They would not do it if there weren't people falling for it. It would no longer be lucrative if people didn't fall for the scam. They do.
They all need 10% to fall for it. They don't need even a lot.
Yeah, and depending on the money amount, it could be 1%. I mean, you get one whale that you are able to, and we've seen the story of the older retired individual or couple that gives away their life savings by accident. That's all you need, and then it's done. $200,000-$300,000 payday. See you later.
Yep,
it's sad.
It's very sad.
But at the same vein, it's also. I don't want to be heartless, but it's also a little pathetic. I mean, this is not a new thing. This is not a new scam. This kind of thing has been going on for decades now in various forms. And it's unfortunate that people are still gullible enough to fall for it. It's unfortunate.
Yep. And it's mainly done because of lack of education about what's happening on the net. So if you are a young person who has older parents or grandparents who are active on the computer, instead of just going there and showing them TikToks, videos, and stuff like that, talk to them about scams and how to watch out for things like that. I just almost, I mean, it wasn't a scam, but I did something that I shouldn't have done. Kathy's using her iPad and she gets a pop-up that says the storage is almost full. And it takes, and I went and looked, and I don't even know how to look at where the storage is. And it tells you that you can go to the App Store and get a program that will just clean it. And you go there, and here's the program, Smart Cleaner or whatever. And it's, of course, it costs. So it's in the App Store. I go ahead and I subscribe to it for 3 week. And I run it. And it says that storage is only 27%. That it's not full. So I go and I cancel and unsubscribe and all that. And she's telling me last week that she got it again. And I said, well, something is wrong here. I don't know what that is. And yesterday she was saying, I figured it out. This is just a pop-up. It's an advertising.
Yep.
But who advertised? Because the only one who will...
The company itself, because that's where it takes you to.
No. So that's where you are missing the con. The company what? Apple?
No. It's the company that writes the app that cleans stuff, and they take you through.
But you registered to subscribe for storage.
No, I subscribe for that app. You don't buy it; you subscribe to it, and it's $3.99 a month or something like that. And they give you.
It's a cleaner app.
Yeah, it's a cleaner app.
Okay.
Like C Cleaner, but for your iPad.
Yeah. So and they give you a week free, so I got the week free, And of course, you have a credit card with the App Store. You have to have a credit card online. So they figured that after a week they're going to start charging it. But after seeing that it was only 27 gig out of 50 gig or whatever, I canceled. Went in and it was very legitimate, and it is legitimate, but it's a tricky way to get you into buying that program. And I don't know why Apple allows it on their App
So
Store. But not knowing,
where is the pop-up coming from?
I have no idea. Probably from her
So
browser.
there's another app,
It's not a
right? There's
browser.
another app somewhere that has this as an ad.
She plays a lot of games on it, so it may be one of
Okay.
those apps
Free
that,
games, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of free games use
Yeah.
that, yeah.
So
So one of the things, by the way, one of the things to uh, there's two version of these ads that come up on mobile devices. Okay, there's one that pushes a notification at you, and it looks like it's something official. And this is easy to bypass because you can just set, especially on a game, right? You can set that game to not allow any notification at all. So at least it won't bug you outside of the game uh, um, with ads. So that's one. The other uh, is those that come within the app. So you play a game, usually between, let's say it's sectioned into levels, and so between the levels it'll show you an ad. Sometimes it can be a 30-second ad that you cannot skip unless you want to continue. You can exit the app, but if you return to the point before the ad. So there's not a lot you can do about that, but one thing you can do inside your home, you can install a DNS ad blocker, or use configure your router to use some sort of ad blocking DNS outside your home. So check out Edguard or Pi-hole or something like that, and you can. It requires some technical know-how, right? But you can definitely do that. So those are the options right now, because as far as I remember, Apple does not allow ad blockers as an application. Even Android, where it's more open, there are some solutions, but most of them you will need to have root access to the system, which means you need to break out of the default OS in some way, and that can hurt your warranty if you're still under warranty. That can prevent you from installing work apps, work-related applications, stuff like that, because integrity of the bootloader is tested for those. So, but anyway, you're probably looking for some sort of ad blocking solution.
good info.
With mobile devices, it don't need to be outside of the mobile device.
I mean, not knowing how to, I never played with Apple stuff, so I don't even.
I know.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird. And yesterday she said that she got it again. She said, "I know what it is, and that's it." And Donna was here, and she said, "Oh, I get it on my iPad also."
So they're probably playing the same game.
Yeah. Oh, they do. Yeah. All right. Now, listen to this story. Microsoft is rolling out a new security default for Windows 11 that will go a long way to prevent ransomware attacks that begin with password guessing attacks and compromised credentials. The new account security default on account credentials should help thwart ransomware attacks that are initiated after using compromised credentials or brute force password attacks to access remote desktop protocol RDP and RDP endpoints, which are often exposed on the internet. RDP remains the top method for initial access in ransomware deployments, with groups specializing in compromising RDP endpoints and selling them to others for access. I never used RDP, but I know that there were a lot of stories over the years about RDP is the worst thing that you can use. You should not utilize it. There are other programs. Don't use RDP. Don't use RDP. And apparently, RDP is remote desktop protocol, which is sort of like TeamViewer, AnyDesk, any of those.
Microsoft's
Yeah,
remote desktop. Yeah.
right. And it's not as safe, and apparently it's not as good. I don't know how it is today, but I remember this started with
Yeah,
Windows
that's not true
2000.
anymore. It is safe, but to be fair, it also exposes a lot.
And you deal with that stuff. Why? Why do you have to expose more than the other programs expose?
Because RDP was never designed to be one facing. It is a LAN based protocol,
Oh,
right, to connect remotely as if you are sitting at that machine. You can connect USB stuff to your machine locally, and it's connecting remotely, right? So it meshes with the remote machine very, very effectively. It is a fantastic protocol in terms of features, right? But when it was designed early on before security consciousness was as high as it is today.
right.
And I'm talking as it was even 10 years ago. It's a very old protocol. It has been evolving since then, and for the past 10 years, I would say it's spot on. It's a very good protocol. But the thing is, in a in in a home setting, there is zero need for RDB to be exposed.
Okay. Interesting. So anyway, with Windows 11, they rolled out a new update that will sort of like fix it, not fix it, but protect you from too much exposure. And
Yeah, but sorry, something's completely weird here.
yeah,
So they're talking about brute forcing RDP credentials.
yeah,
Okay, as if people have RDP exposed to the network, to the outside network, very easily. That seems to me completely bogus. Like every single listener of ours right now that has Windows and that works with Windows, right? If they're in a home environment, then they have a router that doesn't expose the RDP port outside, right? So one, how would RDP brute forcing will even work here? That's what I don't get. So it doesn't seem like that big of an exposure. That's what I mean. So that's one, and two is by default on the home, and I even think on the professional editions of Windows, and
mhm,
I'm talking Windows 10, probably Windows 7. RDP was switched off. So I'm not getting the vibe that this article is supposed to do. And I've searched the news,
yeah,
and it's like it's all over the place. It's definitely a news release uh,
Microsoft,
from Microsoft that everybody's following up on, right? But nobody's calling their bluff. It's like, yeah, that exists. So unless they're talking about your LAN is already compromised, and now the way to uh, propagate throughout your LAN if you have more than one computer, right, is the RDP process, then maybe, but I still remember in the default settings, RDP comes switched off. You actually need to switch on. And on Windows servers, you need to have licenses, right? So, something about the whole vibe of this article is look at how much Microsoft is taking care of you, and it sounds like more we're patching something that we should have patched a long time ago, right?
Well,
something like that.
let me say this, and Gal, I agree with you. For home users, I don't know anybody that you have to actively, you would have to actively try to get yourself compromised with
Right.
RDP at home. You would have to. Home users aren't dealing with that, but from the year and a half, almost 2 years I spent in the managed IT space, I worked for an MSP, which means companies hired and contracted us to do their IT.
Right.
RDP being publicly accessible was a very common thing. All of these companies, all of these businesses had RDP
Directly
accessible.
to the one, not within their network.
No.
Outside?
I mean, and there were things. That's true, right? It was under VPN and things like that, understood. But I am sure that and I know for a fact that there were times in which you had publicly accessible RDP instances because it was set up like that in the past, and it's I don't want to be ageist, but it's an older guy that runs the company, and this is just how he likes to connect, and he's been doing it for 10 years, and it can't change. There's a lot of that in small business, unfortunately. And then they get compromised and then come to us to try and figure out why the hell all their data's gone. And of course, at that point, it's their SOL. But I could not tell you how many times that we got phone calls from people. Something's not customers. These would be people that would call us after the fact. So I think we got hacked. Something happened to our computer system. We lost access to our, let's say a lot of stuff was done in Microsoft Access, for example. We go out there on site, we take a look, and lo and behold, RDP, publicly accessible. How do you access this data remotely? Oh, well, I have a computer. I just click on an icon on my desktop. Port forwarded, publicly accessible RDP.
Yeah.
Because 20 years ago, it actually, while it was still risky then, it wasn't anywhere near as poo-pooed upon as it is now, because there wasn't TeamViewer and some of this stuff. RDP was one of the most popular ways to do this stuff. And some people just refuse to change.
And I don't think that this new default value will affect those. So that's why it seems like too little too late. Whatever they did here won't work. It's like won't have the effect that they are thinking that it has, or the effect that they're saying that it will have. That's all.
We'll have to
I
wait
agree
and
with you
see.
about old behavior.
Unfortunately, we were able to get some people to switch to using, because RDP over a VPN is fine. I mean, it's some people might disagree, but if you're accessing RDP over a VPN as if you were locally on the network, I don't know how that's any less secure than AnyDesk or TeamViewer, in which the client is literally publicly accessible from the internet. And we've seen exploits in TeamViewer before that have been very deadly. I mean, we've seen, I want to say, what was it, Amnon? Maybe 2014 or 2015, there was a huge TeamViewer exploit that caused thousands of computers to get compromised because there was some bug in the password pop-up, and all they had to do is it wasn't guess the ID. The IDs are chronological. Just go from ID to ID to ID to ID and get into the computers.
Yeah.
So
and
if you're accessing, I know RDP has a bad name, but if you're accessing it from a VPN, I would make the argument it's probably more secure than AnyDesk or TeamViewer or anything else.
possible.
I mean, what's a higher likelihood? Somebody hacking I use that. Somebody compromising your VPN, or somebody like TeamViewer or AnyDesk getting compromised? Probably TeamViewer or AnyDesk. They're a much bigger target.
Oh, I mean, they if they have, remember, this is not nobody's wasting their time. They put a machine that goes and scans and comes up. It's just like you fish with 1,000 lines, and you're going to catch something on something.
You troll with lines to catch. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it happens. If it didn't happen, if it wasn't, again, lucrative, then they wouldn't do it.
Bingo.
I mean, when we're talking about stuff that is open and exposed and stuff, they're talking about how easy it is for thieves to steal your code from your fobs for your car.
Is that RFID?
No.
What's the protocol?
That's RF based
Yeah.
communication, but not RFID.
So
RFID
it's just simple RF for the cars. Like what? Like are you talking about
you need
like
a battery? You need a battery in your car key, so it's not RFID.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't have a car that has any of that. I've never really experienced.
And the bad thing about it is, and I don't know why it's doing that, is it is broadcasting all the time, continuously. So I remember some stories about don't hang your keys right on the other side of the door because they can come and they know that people normally would leave it there or something. They can come with the device and read it from outside because it's real close. They can be somewhere around your car when you come in to your car, and they can read that a lot of different ways. And I'm saying to myself, okay, now, and again, that may be ignorance. Why is it broadcasting all the time? Why do I have to press a key to unlock? Why couldn't it be that when I press the key to unlock, it makes contact with the battery and does its thing? And when I let go of that key press, it kills the fob. I mean, there's no more anything. Now, true, there are some fobs, and I know Mercedes has one. I mean, as long as you have it in your pocket, you go in your car and you just press the button on the dash and you start the car. You don't need to put your key in. There's no place to put the key in.
Many cars have. Pretty much any new car.
Most modern cars work like
any car that you buy today that is not a truck, like an F-350 or something like that, where keys are still common. Pretty much any car you buy is going to have a system.
Okay, so that explains why it broadcasts all the time. But again, can't it broadcast for a minute and allows you to start your car and everything and then turn itself off? Why don't they make it and imagine how long it will last, the battery, instead of lasting only like a year or so? It can last for years.
That means they need to come up with the new technology.
No, all they have to do is put another connector inside that will use.
Come on, you know damn well it's more complicated than that.
I was actually.
Come on, you honestly believe that it's as simple as them just running a new lead inside the thing and that's going to solve it?
Yes. All you have to do is just disconnect the battery. It will require you.
Yeah, but what else does the fob do that you're not aware of?
Oh, okay. Again, that's what I said in the beginning. Maybe
I'm sure that's part of it.
I don't know.
Jacob has got a question in the chat. He says, "Can you recommend a reliable antivirus for Apple computers?" This is becoming more and more of a. I
thought I answered.
You did, but I think it's an interesting thing.
Okay.
So you said Sophos, which
that's the only one I know of.
And I've used Sophos. Sophos was one of the two products that we managed and sold as an MSP. So Sophos is a good option. It's a little heavy. It can be tweaked to not be as heavy. Sophos is a little heavy. And if you have an old, and when I say heavy, I mean the software's a bit
bloated.
It's a bit aggressive, and if you have an older computer, it will slow it down unless you tweak it to not. Alan mentions WebRoot, which also has a Mac client. I really like WebRoot. It's older software, as in it's not the Cadillac necessarily. It doesn't look like the Cadillac. Let's say that. WebRoot was our go-to product that we sold and managed and used. I was very impressed with WebRoot. I very much liked WebRoot. And WebRoot and Sophos were both very good. Outside of that, I don't know what else is available on the Mac, but I've used both. WebRoot, WebRoot is cheaper and not as heavy. Sophos is a little bit more flashy. UI is a little bit sleeker, but it's more expensive and it's a little more bloated.
So there you go.
That's what that would be my thought. And I'm sure there's other options that are Mac only. I've only ever experienced stuff that's cross-platform.
I thought Mac is unhackable.
Yeah.
Can we let's talk about something quick here before we run into specials.
Okay.
Amnon, before you joined Gollum, before the show started, Amnon was saying he ordered. Actually, go ahead, Amnon. You mentioned you ordered something off of Amazon.
I ordered a little bitty pad for my daughter's Pathfinder, 96 Pathfinder. A little pad that turns the brake light on and off when you press the pedal. Deteriorated, and her lights are on all the time. So I ordered it from Amazon Prime, $4 or whatever cents. First, it was okay. So yeah, it's Prime, but this was on a Friday, not last Friday, but Friday before. It will be here. It will be there Sunday, today. That's like a week later. And I said, wow, some Prime. But it's okay. I mean, in the meantime, I went and I took a piece of inner tube and put some epoxy on it and stuck it on the
ran
pedal.
A wire. Just connect the wire.
It works. No, and it's working. And it may work forever. I don't know. But it may not work for 5 minutes. So the car is here. She's driving another car. Yesterday, I get a notice that, there's a delay. So it will be here this coming Thursday. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, that's 2 weeks. This is some Prime. And we were talking about it, and Nick said something that, yeah, it's true. Nick, now you tell him.
Yeah, so it's important to note, and I will say that I'm not an Amazon apologist or some big Amazon shill. I think they're just as bad as every other, company. But it's important to note that when you're looking at things that are Amazon Prime simply means 2-day shipping. It does not mean 2-day delivery. Now, if you order a product that Amazon stocks in their warehouse, you might get your product in a day or 2 days, which makes sense. It's in their warehouse. They control the process. They control the system. If I had to guess, and Amnon hasn't confirmed this, but whatever part he ordered is most definitely not stocked by Amazon. It is stocked by a third party, probably auto garage or warehouse. And once it ships, it will come in 2 days. But because those companies don't have the same turnaround time that Amazon does, that order could sit in the pending process for a week before they actually get it, pick it, label it, and ship it. And it's a real problem. And Amazon has done such a piss poor job with differentiating Amazon Prime from Amazon Prime third party seller that that's why I say I don't have any sympathy for them. They have done such a terrible job doing this. And it's because they don't want to add disclaimers and freak people out. And it's sexy when you look at a product and it says it'll be here in 2 days.
Yeah.
And they don't want to say that it won't, but then it's not, and then people get all pissed off, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
But they do state when you'll get it on the product page. You do see a date when it's a Prime product. Get it by, if you order it. I'm sure it didn't say 2 days, right? So
I'll give you a great example though. So my girlfriend moved in this weekend. So we've been ordering some new furniture. So she sent me a TV stand last weekend, and she goes, "It's Amazon Prime." And I looked at it, and yes, it was Amazon Prime, but it's out of stock for 3 months.
Yeah.
Now, once you read that, it makes sense. But when you look at the product page, it says TV stand, $200, Amazon Prime, buy it now, add to cart, something, 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 estimated delivery date, September, whatever. Right. And that's why I said, Gal, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, a lot of this is Amazon's own fault for not making that more prominent. I want September 15th being the first damn thing I read instead of it being buried down on the buy page.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's
I mean,
frustrating.
there's so much data on an e-commerce page, doesn't matter which site, that everybody can claim that something isn't prominent enough, right? So I don't think even a redesign of the page will help here. It's just every person learns to focus on what's important in a certain page, and every site is different. It's if it had a single format, let's say like a Wikipedia page, right, that always has the same, they thrive to a very similar format for the product, like where you can get the gist of stuff from the page. Maybe an add-on will actually do that for you, right? That makes sense. I
But see, hold on. But
it's all about
let me,
education here, right? Eventually, because
let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But let me play devil's advocate, because I agree, right? It's, my preference, your preference, Amnon's is different.
Right.
How can you, though, as Amazon, when I search for TV stand on Amazon, and the fourth result says, now this is on the search page, it just says Amazon Prime, and it's got the check. That's the problem. It shouldn't.
I agree. Their search,
that's the problem.
They haven't fixed their search in such a long time. You cannot. I'll give you another example of how their search is flawed. You run a search query, right? And you ask it to be to limit items that have that do not cost more than $20. How come the third option, right, costs 40? Right? It's like the filters don't actually work. It's screwed up.
Okay, let me jump in here. So I went on the phone to check to see. And first of all, if I ordered it today, Prime delivery is going to be Saturday, September 3rd.
Oh,
if I ordered today. And I go below it, and it says secure transaction. Ships from Amazon.com, sold by Amazon.com.
Really?
Really.
Okay. So then this is the other option. And this is another way that Amazon handles things. Amnon, you make a product. You develop a product. Your product. You develop this tape measure, this ruler.
Yeah.
You sell it through Amazon, and you supply the Amazon warehouse with the product.
Right.
If you don't have this product, you have to go to, if Amazon doesn't have this, they can't sell it. You need to send it to Amazon, which is the way Amazon prefers, so that they can do the logistical stuff better. But are you telling me it's showing as Amazon Prime?
It says here, it tells you right at the top that
what is it called?
It is,
let me search it up and I'll pull it up on the screen.
It's Well, there's no name.
What's the name of the
It's a
list?
Dorman 74015. Brake pedal accelerator stop.
Okay.
DORMAN.
Is it $4.27?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at this here. Let me get my
And it says free prime delivery Saturday, September 3rd.
let me get my little screen capture. So we can take all right.
That's
So let's take a look at this. So here is the product. Actually, let me open this in incognito to get rid of all of my extensions.
Well,
Okay,
Amnon, the first thing you should have done.
Well, this one
is
does not say
ask-
Prime though. Oh, actually, no, it does say. No, you're right. It does say. It's because I'm not logged in.
Oh.
But mine's interesting. Mine says September 9th.
This one is saying September 3rd.
You're in a different address.
Yeah.
So
I'm not even logged in.
So that it probably gives you the worst case scenario. The moment you logged in, you get it. So Amnon, the first thing you should have done is run this through FakeSpot.
Yep.
Because then you'll see that the FakeSpot review will only give it a 1.5 stars. And not the 4.5 stars you see on that page.
Yeah, that's right. 4.5 here.
But I will say this though, this does appear to have good reviews.
I mean,
I've noticed that FakeSpot can be. Let's see the last time it was updated.
Run reanalyze.
Yeah.
And again, that may be because of the shipping. The 1.5 stars.
No, the way FakeSpot does it is it filters out the reviews from sources that do not review authentically. It tries to analyze whether the reviews are authentic. It doesn't care about the content.
You know what I'm seeing? Also, something here now that is different than when I ordered it. It tells me right in the middle. This does not fit 1996 Nissan Pathfinder. When I ordered it, it listed, this is for 1996 Nissan Pathfinder.
That's through Amazon's auto checker, and I will say it's not always accurate because there's so many cars and so many parts.
Yeah, but it's the funny thing is that it's. I mean, when I logged in, I guess I was with the default was my pickup, and it says that does not fit the pickup. So I say, oh yeah, wait. So I changed it to the Pathfinder and says, yeah, that does fit 1996. Because otherwise I wouldn't order it. But it's just amazing what the listing is doing from one day to the next.
Yeah.
So it means that after you ordered, right, and you ordered it specifically for the Nissan.
Yeah.
This goes. The seller involved or whatever probably figured out this isn't going to work. Updated the listing. Right?
Well, then send an email and say, hey, you ordered that. That's not.
But all I'm saying is they wanted the money, but they didn't want to deal with the return. So they made the change.
Well, I mean.
Yeah. So I would say look for something else. Don't wait for this one and cancel this one.
I don't know. I would love to get it and then return it. If it doesn't
Yeah, but
fit.
you're going to wait.
I was, the thing is, I looked at other listings on the web and on Amazon and they are all exactly this. So I'm sure it does fit.
I'm sure it does too.
Because it is exactly how it's supposed to.
What I'm saying is, why wait for another 2 weeks if you can get it inside a week?
Oh, because the other ones were more expensive, a bunch more.
By $2.
By
$4?
I mean, I think I looked on eBay and it was something like $19.
Oh,
it was a big difference. I always shop both, and I think that's what it was. I don't remember, but I wasn't looking with the part number. I was looking with just the description. It doesn't matter. It's fine. She doesn't need the car, and I'm sure what I did in there, putting a silicone pad with epoxy on the pedal, it's not going anywhere, but it could. It just, I mean, but look at it from one week to the next. It
Yeah, I'm
was
guessing you
first,
won't get it. That's why. But whenever a delay like that is recorded, my experience is this isn't
get
being restocked. You are not going to get it.
Have
possibly.
Amnon, you're on your phone. Are you logged into your Amazon account?
Yeah.
Has it shipped yet? Do you have a tracking number?
Um, I didn't even look
I
at
would
that.
assume not, but maybe you
Huh.
do.
Yep, that would be interesting to see. If I go here, previously expected August 7th. Now it's August 18th. If I click on it, um, no, it just says ordered. It didn't even
Okay,
get to
so
the
then yeah,
shipping. Yeah, yeah.
so this is likely a case where the vendor, which by the way has good reviews, um, where they have told Amazon the product will be at the warehouse at a certain date. Probably it was probably supposed to be at the Amazon warehouse last week.
Yeah.
Which would have meant that Amazon would have gotten it, boxed it, and shipped it to you, and you should have gotten it today. It did not arrive at the Amazon warehouse last week. So now they said,
Right.
oh, it's going to come this week. So Amazon has bumped it back to next weekend. And this is the logistical problem that Amazon has when you are reliant on third parties for small stock. Now, obviously, Amazon doesn't make many products. Now, there is a lot of Amazon Basic. But let's be clear, they're not manufacturing those
No,
products
none
at
of
their
them.
warehouses. They're
No.
still being shipped and provided and everything like that. But this is, this is why Amazon has got so many employees to handle the logistics. I mean, look, imagine all of these companies that sell different parts like this.
Mhm.
Somebody has to manage
Yeah.
the supply in the warehouse for this stuff. Now, a lot of
Now-
it's done by AI, but still.
Now here's you want to hear the opposite?
Sure.
The fish pond. I have a filter in there. The filters that you put into that filter are real expensive. I found a roll of 7 feet or whatever, same material. 2 years ago, I ordered it, cut it up, put it perfect, better than the original. But they do wear out, so I decided, okay, let's order another one. So about 3 weeks ago, I ordered another one. And it says that it's going to take about a week to get it. So that's fine. I'm in no hurry. It came after 3 days.
Mm. Yeah.
When I keep looking at my thing, it says, sorry, we're running late. Sorry, it's late. And they don't even know that it was delivered. I mean,
It's the,
Yeah,
It's
somebody
the-
didn't scan somewhere.
yeah.
Well-
and this is, there are so, I mean, we covered it a couple of, millions of packages a day that are getting delivered. It's so, the issues, when they affect you, the issue is a big deal, obviously, because it's affecting you. But in the grand scheme of things, out of millions of packages ordered and delivered,
oh
a
yeah,
day,
yeah. No,
it's such an infinitesimal. It's the margin of error. It's
Yeah.
the small amount of error. And I said it before. I wasn't the biggest shill of Amazon. Their customer support is phenomenal, and it's because of that, because of the millions of packages, and because of that they can have that they don't have to have the support. I mean, plenty of companies are larger than them and have terrible support,
right.
but they have determined that the way to stay in good grace of their customers, because there will be errors, there will be issues, is to offer really good support, and it's worked out.
Oh, I mean, when you call their support, it's great.
Call their support. Listen to what Amnon just said. Call their support. Many places do not even offer
Right.
the availability to call. And not only call their support, you can start a web chat with somebody, get to a point in which they say, we need to talk with you. You click a number, you click a button, enter your phone number, and you are the next in queue. You're on the phone with somebody in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's always it always works. If something is broken, if something is the wrong thing, and they will give you credit right there and then and say, "Yep, just send it to us, and we're sending a new one." It's yeah, I have no complaint about that. Absolutely.
And that's how they can get away. But see, imagine if their support sucked.
Oh,
So
forget
imagine
it.
you have this issue where you're getting the wrong product
Right.
and their support is a disaster. Guess what? You're done ordering from Amazon.
Yeah.
The reason you order from Amazon is with especially weird stuff. Like, I'm not saying that, this brake pedal accelerator stop is a weird thing. It's a little plastic piece.
Right.
If you get it and it doesn't work, first of all, it was only $4.
Right.
Second of all, you'll contact Amazon support and you'll get it solved.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, they have done they've really figured it out.
All right. So, do you want to do the special?
Yeah, speaking of figuring it out, I figured out how to do specials this
What do you mean?
week. Figuring
Yo,
it out. Yeah.
You've been doing specials for a long time.
Oh, but I finally figured it out.
Okay. Special. And all right. Ta-da!
This will be our next story. Robber breaks into your house. You might ask your Roomba to stop the intruder. And you can see here we've got a couple of different little robots. We got one that's kitted out with like an AR-15. The other one has got a claymore with a webcam, which is really cool, so you can see your enemy. The next one has got some sort of Glock-looking pistol, and then the fourth one has got a very large chainsaw that has been ship taped to the top of the.
What did you say? What did you say about the second one?
It's a claymore with a webcam.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not just a regular claymore; it's a webcam claymore.
Yeah.
So very, very high. That looks like a Logitech HD Pro, the old Logitech camera.
Instead of using, this is iRobot.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and
so we'll talk about iRobot and Amazon coming up after specials here.
Yeah.
Pretty big story this week.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Starting off here over at everybody's favorite big box retailer, Costco. Lenovo's really, I mean, if you're buying a laptop today and you don't already if you don't already have brand loyalty to somebody like HP or Dell, which if you do, maybe you should look at switching over. Lenovo's offerings on the laptop line just seem to be literally unbeatable. We've got 3 Lenovo's today we'll take a look at. The first one is a Lenovo Slim 7i, not an i7, but a 7i. It does have an i7 processor. This is a 14-inch touchscreen on the Intel Evo platform. This is their 12th gen Intel processors, the ones that we've been talking about. It's got 16 gigabytes of memory and a terabyte SSD. This thing is a beast of a laptop. Again, as I mentioned, the 14-inch touchscreen and everything else with it. It's normally $1,200. This is an expensive computer, but you can get it on sale over at Costco, both in-store and online for $899. Save $300 on that. So there's the high end. Now let's go to the lowest of low ends. Here's a Lenovo Chromebook that is over at Best Buy. This is an 11.6-inch screen on it. It's running a Celeron 4020. The CPU really doesn't matter for this. 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 64 gig worth of eMMC internal storage. It's normally $140. Save just over 45% on it. And you can get that over at Best Buy. It's just $79 if you're looking for maybe if you're looking to dabble around with Chromebook a little bit or just want something that.
No, I mean if you just use the internet, if everything you do is on the internet, this is perfect.
Yeah, it is. I will warn you though, like if you're a big video watcher and stuff like that, and you want to maybe cast videos, this is not the device for it. It does not have the processing it probably will not play back. It will not play back 1080p video smoothly in all likelihood. These things are very low end devices, but again, you know what you're expectations are, like
Low
just a
end money.
laptop.
Low end money. Yeah.
Exactly. Know what you're getting there. So
Gal,
that's $79.
what were you going to say about it, Gal?
I think the most limiting factor here is actually not the CPU so much as the RAM. With 4 GB of RAM for something that you're using the web, let's say just reading email and browsing a website, keeping the more than 2 to 3 tabs open will probably start hitting
Okay.
you hard,
Yeah.
right?
All right.
So that's the most limiting factor. But then again, for $80, right? For $80 to have an 11, I wonder if the 11-inch is the outer side of the outer size of the screen or the internal size, but an 11-inch screen to read on
It's an
and
11.6-inch screen that runs at a 1366 by 768.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a great. This is great for definitely for first experiences and stuff like that. Definitely.
Okay.
Yep. So check that out
And
over at
Lenovo, I mean, Lenovo hardware, even their cheap plastic is still very well done, right? So, yeah.
I've got a similar computer to this. It's not a Chromebook, but I spent about $150 on a Lenovo laptop, and I've been very happy with it. I'm now looking for a better Lenovo laptop to try and get that squared away. All right, let's move on over here to televisions and switch on over to Target. Here's a this seems like a nice TV for us, maybe a spare bedroom or an office or a garage or something like that. It's not too crazy expensive, and you don't have to get a separate box for it to do smart TV functionality. This is a TCL 40-inch Roku TV, so it's got the Roku stuff built right into it, which is nice. It's normally $300. It's not a crazy deal. It's $100 off. You can get it for $199, both pickup and delivery from Target. It's available at the stores here. At least in Wilmington. I checked Raleigh. It's in stock there as well. You can check that out over at Target.
No,
Moving on.
This is 180p. This isn't the 4K one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. 1080p screen for that, which again, why you're, for office, bedroom, spare bedroom, something like that. Moving on this morning. Actually, let's skip the next day. It looks like that just expired. So I guess that's the disadvantage of doing specials. That Blink special looks like it's expired. But the next deal is ready to rock and roll. Last week we covered a single Philips smart bulb that was on sale over at B&H Photo. And this week I've got this deal, which is a 3-set of 60-watt Philips Hue, both RGB and white. I don't know why they differentiate, but RGB and white bulbs that are Bluetooth and Zigbee compatible, similar to the last one. You can use a hub, but you don't have to because they'll connect via Bluetooth. And they can work with the smart devices if you've got them hooked up correctly. 3 bulbs for $68. These are normally 100.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
The point here is not that there are 3 bulbs. You can find 3 bulbs for lower than that, but these are Philips bulbs. Their quality compared to others is just like 3 times higher. I'm pulling the trigger on this, man. This is good.
All right. Well, there you go. See, specials works out. It's if you go to Amazon, it shows that it's $79, but there's a 15% off coupon that you click right on the Amazon purchase page. So make sure before you add it to your cart, you click the little coupon, the little purchase icon, or the little coupon box to get that. So you'll find those for $68, normally $135 over at Amazon. A really good price on that. All right, moving on. I thought this was kind of a cool device, and I know that Gal more than me is not necessarily the biggest fan of ecosystems for some of these things, but a lot of folks aren't really interested in running their own home automation setup. And I think that the TP-Link Casa system, which I've used, and I have a couple of TP-Link Casa devices, I've been very happy with. It's not overbearing. It's not. They're not trying to sell you stuff every time you open the app. Casa seems to be a very good brand, and a lot of folks already have TP-Link stuff. Here is a smart Wi-Fi power strip, which is really cool. So all 6 of the outlets on the strip are completely independently addressable. So you can turn them on or off. And then there are also 3 USB ports. They're type A's, but they'll produce 5 volts at 2.5 amps. Obviously, this thing connects via Wi-Fi, the same that the other devices do. But if maybe come Christmas time, you've got a bunch of lights in one area of your house, and you have a bunch of these Casa plugs kind of daisy chained together. This is a great option to get one. It takes one 120 volt plug out of the wall, and you get 6 completely addressable 120 outlets. It's also got surge protection and stuff in it as well. So you can check that out. This is normally an $80 device. It's on sale over at Amazon, 41% off, $46.99, $47 over at Amazon. If you're even if you're not in the Casa ecosystem, this is a really cool device for the price. A lot of cool functionality with that. Moving on, we don't really talk about tablets all that often. The tablet phase is kind of, in my opinion, kind of died out and dipped down. But this is a pretty good deal on a Samsung Galaxy Tab A8. It's a 10.5-inch tablet, so this is a large tablet. Maybe if you're looking, maybe the Chromebook, having the Chromebook in the living room isn't sufficient. This might be a better alternative for you to have something when you're watching TV to browse the internet and play games and stuff like that. It's on rollback over at Walmart. It's normally $230. It's on sale for $179. It's got a 5-megapixel front camera. Does not have a face camera. 32 gigabytes of built-in storage. There are other sizes available, and it also has a slot for a micro SD card. So you can check that out over at Walmart. And again, that's on sale for $179. Next up is the JBL Bar 5.1, which is a surround system bar. You can see it's got multiple. It's got. You can't really see it from the picture. I'm trying to find the best way to describe it. It's a sound bar, but it's got 2 wireless break-off speakers to give you left and right channel. Now, if you want to have it all as one sound bar, it'll all connect together. But if you want the left and the right to be maybe a little bit further away from the sound bar, you can do that. And it's also got a wireless hub with it, or wireless sub with it as well. So this is a 5.1 surround sound system from JBL. It's normally $700, $699 over at JBL. And on their website, it's listed for $599. If you add it to your cart, it's $399. So you're getting a very high-end, high-quality soundbar sub system with 510 watts of power for just $399. You can find that over at JBL. Moving on, back to Costco and a different laptop that I found this morning. This is another Lenovo, the Flex 514. This is a 2-in-1, so it flips all back and forth. This one, though, different. Instead of running an i7 12th gen from Intel, this is running an AMD Ryzen 7 5700U, which is an 8-core processor from them. Still a pretty beast of a computer. 16 gigabytes of internal memory, a 512 gig SSD. It's got a backlit keyboard, 14-inch touchscreen as you would expect. This one, though, significantly cheaper. It's normally $850, but you can get it on sale for $599 over at Costco, both in the store and online. Moving over to Walmart, thought this was a neat little deal. This thing is normally not too expensive anyway. This is an on brand, the ONN, which is Walmart's brand of brand of electronics. It's normally $13, and it's just a wireless keyboard, just a wireless Bluetooth keyboard that you could connect to a smartphone or tablet. It's got 2 little kickstand spots so that you could either have a tablet leaned against it or give it a little bit of prop up on the back so that it's got a little bit of a slant when you're typing. It's normally $13. It's on sale for $7. If you're maybe typing a little bit more on a tablet than you used to, or you just need a spare Bluetooth keyboard, it's going to be hard to beat this for $7. You can get it in store or online. You can check that out over at Walmart. Still over at Walmart, this is a Roku Ultra LT. This is their high-end device. It's the 2021 model, but this is the one that I've got in my living room, and I've been incredibly happy with it. It does have Ethernet, which I know is big for a lot of folks. Streaming that. It does have Ethernet, HDMI, and power. That's it. You'll find this over at Walmart. It's normally $65. Get it $10 off, $54.99. Again, that's free pickup in store or online as well. All right, moving on here, we've got a webcam. This is over at Staples as part of their back to school sale thing that these office stores run. This is a Logitech C615. They call this their portable webcam. It's normally $60. You'll get it for 50% off, just $29.99. This is only available in stores, so I didn't include a link to it because it's just an in-store deal. So just look for that if you're going to Staples. The C615, you'll find that. It's only on sale through next Saturday. So it's just a week deal from today to next Saturday. As we round it out here is a Crucial SSD, which Crucial's owned by Micron, which is one of the largest manufacturers of NAND memory. This is a 1 terabyte, 2.5-inch SSD, up to 540 megabytes of read and write speed. Get it for $72. It's normally $90. Save about 20% over on that. Over at Best Buy, you're looking to maybe spruce up the gaming den or piss off your wife or girlfriend. Get the Arcade 1-Up Marvel Countercade. So this is not the traditional arcade cabinet. This is one that you would put on a bar or some sort of other tabletop to play it. So it's not the full cabinet, just the top arcade part. It's normally $230, and this is the Marvel 2-player one. So you can play Marvel Superhero, Marvel versus Capcom, and some of those games. It's on sale for $129 at Best Buy, Walmart, and Staples. So check out your retailer for that. And then we got 2 final things here. First is over at Harbor Freight, and I thought this was kind of a cool tool workbench, not necessarily for working out in the garage, but maybe you need a little workbench to do some electronics work. It's hard to beat the price on this. It's on clearance over at Harbor Freight. It's normally a $170 workbench. It's a light workbench. You're not going to be dealing with steel and stuff on it, but it's $99. After tax, it'll be like $110, $111. But it's nice. It's got a built-in LED light and an outlet. So you plug it in and you get some outlets and a light with it, which is pretty cool. It's got the cork board on the back and 3 built-in ground-protected outlets on the side of it, plus a couple of cabinets, maybe nice for a shed or a garage if you're looking for some place to work. And finally, this deal was just so good I couldn't pass it up. This is the Cuisinart CG. And, I don't buy a lot of appliances. Actually, that's not true. I do. Appliances always have the stupidest model numbers. The Cuisinart CGG 403. I know what CGG stands for, Cuisinart Griddle and Grill. 40, I don't know what that means. 3, it's a 3-in-1. It's just a stupid model number. Nevertheless, this is a 3-in-1 pizza oven. It's also a griddle and a grill. Amnon, if you can pull me up here, I wanted to show you some of the different things that this can do, because I only had room for one picture in specials. So, here is the pizza side of it. You could see, okay, it's a pretty normal little pizza oven. But look at this. You pull up the lid. It's also a grill. You can see you got a couple burgers chilling out over there. It's relatively portable. And then you can also use it as a griddle. So this is a phenomenal deal. This is 51% off. It's normally $300. You can get it for $147. Again, I added it as kind of a joke, but it does actually look like kind of a cool device. If you're in the marketplace for a pizza oven and grill, you'll find that over at Amazon for $149. And if anybody wants to buy me one, send me a direct message. I'll send you my address. So yeah, check it out. That's specials for this Sunday, August the 7th.
Thank you, Nick.
I have a lot of fun with specials. There's a lot of maybe in a couple weeks, I'll do a eclectic mix. Because I'll tell you what, man, if you don't browse Slick Deals, there is some weird shit that is on sale over at Slick Deals.
Uh-huh.
So maybe I'll do an eclectic mix in a couple of weeks.
That'll be just fine.
Like, did you know that you can get a Costco 4-pack of dog toys? Did you know that Costco sells Kirkland brand dog toys, Amnon?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, they do. You can get this. It's their vodka brand Kirkland. They call it Dogta. A Costco membership card pillow, as well as a cheese and a wine. It's only $10. Those are some of the things that I have to sift through to find technology deals. So there you go. Bonus special for you.
All right.
Let's talk about I referenced it at the top, off the top of specials. Let's talk about Roomba, iRobot, and Amazon.
Yeah.
We joked 3 weeks ago about the Amazon assistant device, and we joked about duct taping a word to the top of a Roomba. Right. Looks like that might be coming closer, because on Friday, I was watching CNBC, and so I got a breaking news alert across the top of it, and it said Amazon to acquire Roomba, which makes the iRobot, which is the little robot guy that cleans your house, for a whopping $1.7 billion. Wow.
Yep.
Pretty remarkable.
Now, what are the chances that the Roomba is going to be the most uncompatible to the ecosystem?
The Roombas have been out for 15 plus years. I mean, Roombas are old. I mean, it might even be 20 years when the first Roomba came out. These things are very antiquated.
Yeah, they're the original, right? The original concept, right? Everybody's copying Roomba. Yeah.
There are some, like, for example, I don't know if you saw this. Actually, I didn't see this until right now. Can you pull me up again, Amnon?
You're on.
You're on.
208 weeks ago. How long ago was that? Okay. July the 30th, 2018. Jeff Bezos posted this picture on his Instagram. So he posted this on his Instagram back in 2018, which is the original Echo, the full capsule looking one, masking taped to the top of his Roomba.
Not even duct tape.
No, just masking tape, which has zero support at all, with the caption of, "Found this in the living room when I got home. I have no idea." This was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and now lo and behold, $1.5 billion later, it looks like that will be possible.
Huh?
It's I'm surprised, and maybe it will happen. Somebody's gonna have to. The FEC or FTC is gonna have to go after Amazon at some point. They own Ring. They own iRobot now, Roomba. They own Whole Foods. They just bought a pharmaceutical company. They're in the process of buying a pharmaceutical company for like $6 billion. I mean, at what point and I'm not dogging Amazon, but at what point does Amazon become this company that provides everything, which is what they want? But at what point does the government loves to step in, right? They'll go after Microsoft for, or what? They're going after Facebook for buying a freaking VR studio.
Yeah.
Man, you've got Amazon that's purchasing practically every industry under the sun. And they just nobody seems to care. It's very interesting. Microsoft gets hit by the FTC and FEC all the time. They're going through it right now with the Activision Blizzard purchase. Facebook can't pick up a nickel off the street without the FEC throwing a fit about it, or the SEC or whoever. And Amazon just seems to be acquiring whoever the hell they please, and they're good to go.
Has Amazon ever... one thing I've never felt from the Amazon ecosystem is a lock-in.
Gal, I think your audio is, again, kind of funny. Oh.
How about now?
Much gooder.
Yeah, I see very high CPU usage. I'll reboot later.
Right.
So has Amazon ever... I never feel from the Amazon ecosystem a complete lock-in. So they always offer something of their own, right? But I never feel as they created anything that says you must only use Amazon. And I think that's probably where they get away from where whatever they're getting away with.
When you say that, though, can you like? Obviously, their own stuff is locked in. Like the Amazon Smart Plug only works with Amazon, which is what you would expect. What exactly? I understand what you're saying. Can you give me an example of what you mean?
I'm not completely sure that it works only with Amazon, right? But that is a very niche market and a very small market piece, right? And you can to the to the ecosystem of Echo, right? You can plug in any other outlet, right? It's not like they are locking you in only to their
if
brand.
they have support.
They're saying it'll work great with our brand, but it'll also work great with all of these. And usually it starts with the all of these and only then the brand comes in. And they never lock in. So Fire TV, right? Android based, you can always install stuff from outside, right? You can always switch on the unknown sources. Um, uh, Even their own website, right? You want to buy something, you don't necessarily have to buy from Amazon, right? On the same page, you can say offers dealt by others. They've always kept themselves open, and I'm guessing that is why they keep on doing it and not getting slapped on the wrist. When you look at the way Microsoft deals, the way Apple deals, the way Facebook deals, right? There's always this attempt at complete lock-in. Not always successful, but there's always this attempt at complete lock-in. And I wonder why. Uh, uh, I mean, I think that's why Apple, for example, is right now in their legal battles the way they are, right? Because they are holding, sitting at the top of the mountain, putting in their flag and saying, this is the only way, right? My way. And that's where they get slapped. So I wonder if that's why they get away with it. But I agree. They have so much power. They wield so much power around this. And they are not in the forefront of anything. They haven't, they're not the ones who invented, right? Anything. They're just utilizing very effectively everything. So,
and I want to make sure
they're the best copycat.
And I want to make sure I'm consistent because I'm not a fan of having the government intervene and step into every problem. But where I get annoyed is when, and Gal, I agree with you because they don't lock you in, but I'm just trying to think of an example of where they would be able to, right? Like the rope, like Ring, for example, that only works with Ring. Like you can't use a third party app. Ring is Ring, Blink is Blink, which they own. So those are technically locked in, but they have to be. Like it's an ecosystem. The Roomba is going to be the same way. You're going to use the Roomba app to control your Roomba, or maybe they'll bridge it into the AWARD app. But inherently, those things are kind of they're kind of in their own ecosystem because they need to be. Like I don't know how that's any different than what Facebook does with, or what Meta does with Oculus and stuff like that. So I see what you're saying, but I can't think of an example or a difference how Amazon is doing it any differently. And I just don't know why it seems like they always get the free pass and everybody else is always under the microscope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, I'm not, it's not because I'm a fanboy. I'm just thinking of how come they didn't piss off anybody yet. And I'm guessing is they're doing it. First of all, they're probably pissing somebody off, and it's just never getting the headlines like others. But yeah, it's interesting. Maybe because they are 100% consumer oriented and not the other companies, right? The point of friction is with other large corporations. and that's who moves politicians around, right? Consumer group usually doesn't.
How about AWS though? I mean, all that is specifically B2B. I mean, consumers are not, and they can, but consumers are not the biggest users of AWS. It's businesses, B2B.
Yeah, but AWS, I mean, there isn't. You can use. You can with AWS, the way they positions themselves, right, is they're in a competitive place. When somebody else came up with an alternative, right, they didn't create protocols that didn't work with the alternative or something like that, right? Everything is interconnectable, everything is open. I mean, most of the technology around AWS, the protocols, the APIs, they're open. You can use them across clouds. So they were just first. That is probably the one thing that I can say that they have invented, like completely invented, right? That is their child that everybody else is copying, and there's nothing, for example, uh, a word applications, right? The skill. There's nothing that says that the service that you are running for a word, right, must reside on AWS. There is an AWS interface that you work with that's free, right? But the rest can run elsewhere. So they're not locking you in. They're always providing some sort of value, but never locking you in, and you can always check out of it. So maybe that's where maybe they're thinking about these type of legislations in advance instead of dealing them after the fact.
I'm sure they have lawyers sitting there and discussing all this, and they know what they're doing, obviously. So,
Right, but we can say the
we'll
same
wait
thing
and see.
about Apple. We can say the same thing about Microsoft, but then again, they get slapped, right?
So yeah, but then maybe they'll work out the defense.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're not gonna. I mean, the question is why aren't they going after them? Is a good question. We don't know. There's no way for us to know.
We don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, did you ever use Winamp?
Oh,
Of course.
So Winamp
kicks
it really whips the llama's ass.
Yeah, whip the llama's ass. Yeah, there you go.
Winamp, the premier music player of the late 90s and early 2000s, that was acquired by Radionomy from AOL in 2014, has received a major
AOL,
new update for the first time in 4 years.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Well, Winamp was a win. It was something.
No, it was a big thing, but it was a big thing.
Yeah, true. It was.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about SSDs. Oh, let me put me on. Solid state drives use far less power than hard disk drives, right?
Depends.
But a new study unexpectedly, now remember, this is one study, reveals that their lifetime carbon footprint is much higher than their hard disk cousins, raising difficult questions for the computer industry. They figured that
manufacturing process.
The manufacturing and just running and everything all together over the years is higher than what it would be for a spinning hard drive. And their main one is because they have to produce all the chips that they're producing is under high heat that creates a lot of carbon. So that's interesting. We don't think about that when we buy them and we put them in a computer or buy a computer with SSD because I don't want it to use much and I'm trying to be green and all that. But hey, there's more to it than what you think. And even if it's not much higher, just the fact that it's higher, I don't know. It may be a problem. There was something here that cable companies are being downgraded by Wall Street analysts in response to weak broadband growth coming out of the pandemic. Cable companies have managed to stay afloat amid the cord-cutting crisis thanks to their booming broadband business. But some analysts say that safety net is beginning to fade. Everybody was getting broadband. They needed high speed to work from home and all that. Now it's over, so it's beginning to fade. That's too bad, but it's good, right?
Maybe finally we're not chasing an unnecessarily growth in the
Well,
in the
that's
band.
yeah, but I don't know. There was a similar story about Zoom. That now the pandemic is over and some other competitors are there, and they're losing. I don't know.
I said this a couple of months ago, and I still stand by it. Zoom needs to get acquired. It is too expensive for a literal one trick pony. It just doesn't make sense on its own anymore. I mean, it obviously during the pandemic, you mentioned, did a lot of stuff, but
Yeah,
with the current state of the economy right now, companies are not large entities and large enterprises, they can justify it. But people, small business that had a Zoom subscription for the last, year and a half or whatever, 2 years, they're not going to stick with Zoom.
no, probably
Because
not.
if they have email through either through Microsoft or Google, they have either Google Meet, which is Google's thing, or Teams.
And I
Yeah,
can
It's the same
say
thing
I've
like
been using
with like
Meet.
DocuSign too. It's the same problem. It's a one trick pony that it's hard for businesses to justify as they're cutting costs.
So what are we switching to?
We can first of all we can do Discord.
We could totally do Discord. Yeah.
Yeah. Their video is terrific. We just need to see if it works well with Amnon's setup.
Yeah, the screen
Uh,
capture.
and Google Meet is working very well. I've been using it at work, and I can tell you, it works very well. So
All right.
there's definitely
I just
options. Yeah.
okay. Nick, you mentioned Outlook. Microsoft says the Outlook email client will crash when opening and reading emails with tables such as Uber receipt emails. When opening, replying, or forwarding some emails that include complex tables, Outlook stops responding. The company explains in a support document. To make matter worse, emails with the same table content will also cause the Microsoft Word app to stop responding. While the known issue affects Microsoft 365 customers in the current channel version 2206 build, it can also trigger freezes in current beta and current channels. Now, if this happened to you, that suddenly stuff was freezing, you know why. The thing is that Microsoft says that versions in the current channel would receive the fix as part of this month Patch Tuesday on August 9th. So in 2 days, you will have a fix for it. Unless, I guess this is the current.
Unless the fix breaks everything.
Well, and that they're talking about the current channel. I guess they talk. I mean, if you're using Outlook 2007 or 2013 or whatever, it may not be a fix for that.
So
I don't know.
I just pulled up an Uber receipt from. I don't use Outlook, but I just pulled up an Uber receipt from April.
Yeah.
I wonder if this whole thing is a table. Because if it is, then yes, it is a very complex table. I mean, they might have the whole thing formatted as a table. I'll have to.
You can do a right click and inspect, and you can see the structure.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to do that.
Did it freeze already?
I don't use Outlook.
Oh.
TDTR. Yeah, the whole thing is a freaking table.
Jeez.
Let's see how many. I'm going to copy
that. There's a reason for that, by the way. It's because most email clients, up until a few years ago, didn't really support all of the JavaScript and CSS notations. And so table is the sure way, because it's baked in very old HTML versions. Table is the sure way of creating rigid structures that you have more control when you're writing the code. So tables is the way to produce a very stylish email.
Yeah, but it can also be overdone.
Well,
anything can be overdone.
The table source code from this email from Uber back in April, I don't know if they've changed it. The source code with the table, I copied into Word, is 46 pages long of
HTML. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, which is very complicated, but yeah, God, it's a great point. Yeah. The way to style things correctly is to do it in a table so that everything looks uniform. And it looks uniform on your computer, your phone.
So this is Microsoft dropping the ball. This has the fact that they are mentioning Uber, right? It seems like they are trying to jab the fault on somebody else, but no. This is like 99% of the marketing emails in HTML. They will use tables. So
pretty good.
This is them dropping the ball.
Yeah. But they're going to fix
Let's
it.
put it
real
this way:
quick.
this isn't Apple saying we are no longer going to support Flash. This is this is a complete. We messed up. Maybe it's the fault of somebody else, but it's not.
Maybe. Real quick. I mean, we always heard and we talked about Epson printers. So here it is again. Printer maker Epson has programmed some models of its inkjet printers to stop operating at a predetermined time. Woo-hoo. It's nothing new. They're citing now the risk of property damage linked to ink spills. And they're talking about...
Wait, what?
That's
yeah,
no.
I mean, now there is something to it, but it's not... I mean, you can't use it as a reason. With inkjet, when the head rests, it goes into some kind of a pad in a little bitty tank, and it sits there. So it will seal it and all that, and there are absorbent pads in there. And they're saying that after a certain time, these will overfill and spill out and blah, 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 blah.
Right, and the solution is not to brick the printer,
but
allow a way to replace the pad.
And they said that
which no manufacturer does. It's the same thing with Canon. It's the same thing. It's just terrible.
Right, and the thing is, you can. I mean, now you want to be fancy and decide, okay, now it's going to fill up, so we're going to break the printer, then measure how much ink is in there. Hey, you want to do it? Then measure. Because you can always, if I've never seen one that actually filled up. Never.
But hold on.
Oh, I've had in Canon, I've had a printer break because of that. I had to replace that. Oh. But that was a long time ago. Yeah.
Nick?
How much ink is in this that it can cause significant property? I mean, what are we talking about? Gallons of ink?
No,
we're talking about ounces of ink.
Yeah. And the thing is,
that is the most bullshit excuse I think we've ever heard on this show.
Absolutely.
That's the equivalent of your water company shutting your water off.
But if you get that ink on your mahogany table and you go at sue Epson for it, it's significant to Epson. They just sold you a printer. Now you're wanting $2,000 on your desk.
Wow. I mean, I've heard some pretty lame. I mean, I
I
think
know,
we've all
that's
heard
That's a
some pretty
lame
lame excuses over the years. But I mean,
Yeah.
so what?
the
Your car
author,
company can shut your car off when it hits 150,000 miles because
or
it's likely.
when the gas tank is empty.
Oh, when the gas tank is close to empty, your water company shuts off the water when your hot water tank is
Yeah.
15 plus years old because
Yeah.
it could cause a leak. I mean, wow.
And
Wow.
the author is saying these pads become. They say that these pads become saturated with ink, though generally not before the printer is replaced for other reasons. Now, over 20 years, yeah, it may fill up, but it also
But again, how much ink?
you're talking about ounces, yeah. I mean, not even ounces. You're talking about fractions of ounces.
Drops.
Yeah. And besides, if you're worried about it, you can roll a paper towel, take the cartridges out, and just dip it in there and suck the stuff out. You have
Well,
another
put
5 years.
Yeah, put one of those like kitty litter mats or a dish drainer or something under your printer. I mean, what's the problem? I have a pan
it's
under
an
my hot
excuse.
water heater.
Yeah,
But hold on.
it's an excuse.
Do you have a hot water pan?
Yeah,
So do I. So
Yeah.
why don't we?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Epson start selling a printer pan?
right. No.
And then they could put a little drain on it, connect PVC pipe, drain it outside, so that when half an ounce of cyan leaks out of your printer, it can just clog up the pipe. Problem solved.
but then it'll stain the grass outside. No, you can't do that.
That's pretty
Yeah,
bad.
I know.
That we need an award.
But I'm telling you, Epson was always like that.
They do a lot of advertising for their eco tank. It's a big thing on talk radio. Lots of advertising for. They even have I believe it's Shaquille O'Neal that does the Shaq that does the advertising for Epson on the radio. I don't know if he does it on TV. The big thing is their eco tank, which makes sense for business because they're trying to sell their subscription model. But damn.
All right.
I'll make sure never to add an Epson to our specials again.
Are you? I guess you are on the chat, Nick. Anything we need to mention? I mean, I haven't been paying.
No, just don't use Google. You don't want to use Google or any other company. Just stay. You know what? Just stay off the internet. That's what I would recommend to some of our listeners. Just stay off the internet. You're better off.
Much better.
Exactly.
Sure.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
Amnon's tracking your data on this website, so you better be careful.
All right, it's that time. Anything else anybody wants to bring up? Gal, Nick, anything else?
Nada.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, guys. It was, like Nick said yesterday, he said tomorrow's going to be a great show. I told him, I said, it's always a great show. But why? Now we know why. It was a lot. It was good information all around.
Yeah, every once in a while you get a lot of good news that all adds up.
Yep.
It just makes a really good show.
Very good. All
Don't
right.
expect it next week. We're going to be, it'll be significantly less good next week. So don't worry.
Less gooder? No.
Yeah, less gooder.
Yeah. All right. So thanks, Nick. Thanks, Gal. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for joining us and tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can tell your Echo to play 980 The Wave. Or you can go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And Tuesday at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast for survival games and news about gaming on Twitch. So twitch.tv, 7 p.m. Tuesday evening, Infection podcast, one word. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.